Ronda Rousey, do you think she's going to come back, and do you think she's going to get her belt back?
What's weird about the Ronda situation is before she fought Holly Holm, I mean, obviously people were confident in Holly Holm in inner circles that knew how capable she was, but for the most part, everyone was like, well, Ronda's just going to win again quickly. It's going to be like, they even talked about they mic'd Holly Holm's dad up for the fight, and there were even people in the UFC saying, well, it might not be worth it because they were thinking it's going to be over quick. It's going to be a typical Ronda fight. But as soon as the fight was over and Holly won as dominantly as she did, now nobody seems to think that Ronda can beat Holly again. Now the opinion has shifted. Now everyone's like, well, Ronda's not going to get the belt back, because now all of a sudden she's a one-trick pony. Now all of a sudden she's a judo player in an MMA fight. So I think for Ronda to come back, she has to do some things different. I think she has to add some things to her game. I mean, she looks good on pads when she's working with Edmond, but it doesn't seem to be transferring into the octagon. So maybe that's something to be addressed. I think possibly she might need some more high-level sparring in her gym.
Do you think she needs to stay with Edmond, or do you think she should move?
That's a difficult one for me to call, because I don't know the inner workings of that relationship. Now, the only thing that I can comment on is Ronda's mum making a comment.
Yeah.
Now, I know that my mum wouldn't say anything about any of my training camps unless she really felt it. And if she really felt it, she would speak up, and I would definitely listen. And what concerns me is that she's felt this way for a long time, and she's been very quiet about it. And now all of a sudden she's become very vocal. So that to me says that Ronda really needs to listen to her mum. I don't know the ins and outs of that relationship. Like I said, I've spoken to Edmond. He seems like a real nice guy. Like I said, when they're working on pads, they look like they have a good rapport together. They look like they read each other very well. But Ronda's mum was a world champion. She can maybe see something that Ronda can't. Ronda's right in the mix. She's got everybody around her that's telling her how wonderful she is. And sometimes you need your mum to give you the reality check. And I know my mum is that person for me. And I think Ronda's mum plays that same role. So I don't know. I certainly would like to see her move to a different camp just to see what it does for her game. It'd be a shame to see her grind to a halt now and stop evolving, because I think she has the potential to be so much better.
And what did you think about the suicide comments?
I think you have to understand where Ronda is. I mean, when you've been a thing, when you've been a brand for so long, and everybody that comes up to you sees you as a brand, they don't see you as a person. And then all of a sudden you have one fight and that brand is knocked unconscious, you step out of the arena without that brand. She stepped out of that octagon as Ronda, not Ronda Rousey, not rowdy Ronda Rousey as everyone knows her. She was just her then, and she felt vulnerable. So, she's sitting in the hospital waiting to get checked out, and of course all these thoughts are going through your mind, the vulnerability, well, who am I now if I'm not this person? I don't have the belt anymore, I'm not the undefeated world champion anymore, I'm not the best female combat athlete on the planet anymore. Everything that she had, everything that she'd built, I'm sure just felt like it had absolutely shattered. So you've got to understand that if somebody's that emotionally involved in something, it's going to affect them on a deep level. Now, I don't think Ronda's got the weakness of mind to opt out of life like she may have suggested, but I think it brings a certain reality to the situation that she was all in on this. Although we saw her in her movie careers doing this and that, she was a fighter first and foremost, and when that was taken away, it puts her in a very difficult situation, and I can't help but respect her for speaking out and just being honest about how she feels.